a case study featuring Princess Auto and Oliver Wight. Josh Rowson is VP of Demand Planning and Replenishment at Princess Auto. Hello, Josh.
Hello, Robert.
And Daryl Landvater is a business advisor with Oliver Wight. Hello, Daryl.
Hi, John.
Thanks to both of you for joining me today. Josh, tell me about Princess Auto.
Certainly. Princess Auto is a Canadian retailer for tools and equipment. They serve predominantly farmers, tradespeople, and those guys that just like to build and create things. We pride ourselves on having a unique assortment, offering great value in our pricing, and providing what we call royal service to those who shop with us. Princess Auto has a 90-year history. They started as an auto wrecking business on Princess Street in Winnipeg, thus the name Princess Auto. It progressed into a mail order business before eventually starting to open bricks and mortar retail stores in the 1970s. At this point, there's 56 retail stores in all the provinces across Canada.
Good story. So, Josh, what was the supply chain challenge you were facing that leads us to this case study today?
So this implementation goes back to 2014 and before. We were working with an order at and order to replenishment system. It was managed predominantly out of Excel, so we had some archaic ways of moving inventory around, very manual, time consuming, prone to mistakes, and wasn't really scaling all that well as the business grew. So we wanted to improve our processes, be more efficient. We wanted to get better in stock, add visibility, and some inventory planning capabilities.
The dreaded spreadsheets. So why did you turn to Oliver Wight specifically for help with this effort?
So I wasn't involved in that decision at the time. So best I can do is speculate. But our CEO at the time was an advocate of the flowcasting concept of thinking. He had previously worked with Daryl here and with Mike Doherty, one of the consultants we had for the implementation. So I would suspect there was a lot of trust between them and in the flowcasting methodology. So I would think that as we were looking for a solution to solve those problems, knowing that the flowcasting solution is one that is based on simplicity, it would have made a lot of sense as we were trying to, not take on anything too complex, making sure that an implementation was more likely to succeed and less costly by going with this option.
Daryl,
Yeah, I can fill in some of those, Robert.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just interested in you telling me how you see yourself. How did you see Oliver Wight as uniquely positioned to help Princess Auto in this engagement?
Yeah, let me give you a little history that'll help with, because Josh wasn't as closely involved with it in the beginning, but
Okay.
I was there pretty much all along. Um, uh, Jeff Frodsham was the CEO of Princess Auto at the time, and Jeff had worked with us at a previous large retailer where we had implemented very successfully a distribution resource planning system, a DRP system at the DC level. They would like to have gone and done their stores as well, but at the time there was no software available to be able to do that. And over a period of time, Andre Martin and myself had decided that we either needed to create something that could allow this to happen or quit talking about it. We were the originators of the DRP concept way back in the late 1970s with Abbott Canada. And Jeff Frodsham was aware of what we were doing. It was exactly what he was looking for. And he knew that it was because, I'm a consultant, right, as part of the Oliver Wight Group. That's what we do. We work with companies to implement systems. So we have a long history of making these things work. And as I mentioned, Andre and I were the inventors of the DRP concept in general. So we knew what needed to be done. And so we basically created a piece of software, pioneering piece of software. And Jeff Frodsham looked at that and said, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And that's how we ended up getting started. So from our point of view, what we did was, so we were familiar with Jeff. We worked with a couple of folks, Mike Doherty and Jeff Harab from who are independent consultants, and they worked with Princess Auto on this implementation as well. And they're folks that we had worked with previously in this, large implementation at the distribution center level.
Mhm.
And so basically what we provided to Princess Auto was a pioneering piece of software and the support that went along with it. And when I say pioneering, what I mean is that typically what you see in retail is similar to what we saw years ago in manufacturing, which was a forecasting and replenishment system, not really a model of the business. And what we provided was a DRP system that's capable of handling the data volumes at store level, but at the same time provides the full model of the business. So you can look at not just, for example, what to order and when to order, but what your projected inventories are going to be, what your projected weight cube for freight, all of the things that would be a valid simulation
Mhm.
of reality.
Well, let me stop you there for a moment and turn to Josh, because I'm interested. You say it was pioneering. That can present an interesting challenge when you're implementing a solution that does not have that much of a track record in the industry. So, Josh, what was involved in implementation of this solution from the Princess Auto perspective?
Yeah, I suppose any implementation of any DRP system is a pretty big undertaking. It was really shifting the mentality of those here at Princess Auto, and even in our suppliers. So this was a big change in how this information calculated back. We had to make sure that we were focusing on forecasts and inventory being two distinctly separate things. So a lot of training went into bringing the teams up to speed, knowing what to look for, knowing what to focus on, getting our suppliers on board. One of the benefits of Flowcasting is that when all of this information calculates back, it also provides to our suppliers a schedule of what orders they should receive at what point for what quantities. So getting them on board was beneficial, as well as we were now working with different processes, but they were also recipients of the benefits of it. And there was a lot of IT work that needed to be done to automate some data feeds. So it took a while to get going, but it was certainly worth it in the end.
Well, Daryl, as the originator of this whole concept, I'm sure that Oliver Wight pretty much knew what it was doing. But with regard to this specific engagement, did it go as expected in terms of the implementation phase?
Yes, it did. Keep in mind that as consultants, we work with companies implementing systems. Some of them are very complex and very difficult to work with. So we kind of know where the trouble spots are. And so when we had to design and create a piece of software to prove that this could be done, we made it based on our experience. So we made it so that it is simple, it's easy to use, it's comprehensive. It's not a stripped down version in any way. It does all the things that you need done, but it doesn't cost a fortune to implement, and you can get it up quickly. But that's because you know, we have been through the process of implementing complicated systems, and we know what's needed. So you want to have enough capability, but you don't want to have a lot of excess and unnecessary complexity.
Mhm. But not something you can go online and buy off the App Store, not not off the shelf, but interesting.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So Josh, how do you see the solution is now in place? I take it. What benefits have you derived from it?
Yeah, so this implementation was back in, I believe it was 2015 that we were fully implemented. So we've been running on this system for quite some time now. The benefits almost immediately we saw on in stock. Prior, while we were still working off the spreadsheets in our old order to, our in stock in our retail locations was around 93%. And after implementing this, without even really making it hum properly, we immediately jumped up to 95% in stock. And in the last, I guess, 10-ish years, we've been able to refine our forecast, get better at some of the settings, and now we're bouncing around between 97 and 98%, which is a number we're quite happy with.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest benefits, I guess, we've seen. But with that as well, our team hasn't had to grow at the same rate as sales. So with the automation that's gone in here, we've seen, you know, large sales growth over 10 years, but the team has grown at nowhere near that same pace. And I would say our inventory turns have probably, if anything, improved in that time as well. So we really
Mhm.
are finding ways to do more with less since implementing Flowcasting.
Where do you go from here? Opportunity for additional improvements and working with Oliver Wight toward that end?
We're in talks with Daryl and Oliver Wight right now as they're looking for a new version of Flowcasting. I suppose I should let Daryl talk about this, but there's a few more benefits that we've been talking through. And Daryl and Mike and Jeff, as mentioned, have been we've been working with them the whole time since implementation as consultants as well, and they've been very helpful in adding or tweaking some of the parts of the system that have really helped cater towards some of Princess Auto's challenges specifically. But as they've been developing the new version of Flowcasting, we're discussing what our best path forward is there.
Daryl, what more do you think you could bring to the table on behalf of Princess Auto?
Well, as Josh mentioned, they've included their suppliers, so it's a multi-company system, right? An integrated supply chain. And so what we're doing in the new version is we're carrying that even further. So it's continuous planning, and you could put as many of your suppliers in there as you want. You could connect up, multiple levels in the supply chain. So really, we're just taking what we know works and extending it.
Josh Rowson of Princess Auto and Daryl Landvater of Oliver Wight. Thank you, gentlemen, for telling us your story today. Interesting case study. Thanks very much for being with me today.
Thank you very much.